Welcome to the Cincy Postcast. I'm Kevin Wallace. And before we get started with today's episode, I get to tell you about our great friends over at Streetside Brewery in the greater Columbia Tusculum area on the east side of Cincinnati. Oh, just fantastic partners here with us at the Post. We could not be happier with them. And a huge thank you to everybody who came out on Wednesday to watch the away game for FC Cincinnati versus O&M. That is what Streetside offers you, okay? The game was on all the big TVs. The sound was on. Everything I heard was that it was awesome. And that's what Streetside has always been for us. Just fantastic partners in soccer. They are a great place to catch an away game. They brew delicious beers that you can pick up anywhere you are buying your drinks. It's just an awesome people to be partnering with, and you should go and support them. Go check them out. Next time there's an FC Cincinnati away game, you know where you got to be. It's got to be at Streetside. So a huge thank you to Streetside for sponsoring this and so many other episodes of the Postcast. And on today's episode, we're talking about games. 2 games. We are reviewing the O&M FC Champions League match for FC Cincinnati that happened on Wednesday night, and we are previewing the Atlanta United match. We are back. Thursday episodes. The season is in full swing. This is everything that we have been waiting for. We have finally made it through the offseason. Previews, reviews, predictions. We've got it all on a great way to be back on the Postcast. Joining me to talk about all of that and more, joined by the Chief. Grayson may or may not show up later. TBD. Very excited to see what happens. I think he's coming from a spa, which is very exciting for Grayson.
You'll be unsurprised to know that the spa is attached to, say it with me,
a ski lodge.
A ski resort.
Ski resort.
Right. I went with resort because it has a spa attached. I think that's usually the demarcation point between resort and lodge is either a resort fee or a spa attached.
That feels right. I mean, as no ski aficionado, despite how much Olympics I try to watch, that does feel like, the lodge is like a building, sure, not unlike a hotel-ish, but the resort is like where it's at. Yeah,
I'm into the ski lodge concept, not so much the skiing. Like, I feel like I could really get down on hanging out at a ski lodge. I just don't need to do any of the actual skiing, I don't think.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Well,
we should get Grayson to take us out to a mountain state sometime.
Right. We'll hang out in the lodge. You do whatever you need to do there. It'll be fun.
Whatever. You go fall down mountains or whatever.
Right. I'll be at the bar. It's great.
You are never going to believe. You are never going to believe who just walked into the lobby.
Oh dear. Bring him in.
Yeah. What is the difference between a ski resort and a ski lodge?
Yeah, so I mean, price definitely is part of it.
Okay.
The number of bar and restaurant options, like the more bar and restaurant options, the more of a resort it is. Like my place I'm staying, we have like a dining room and we get breakfast and we get dinner.
So that's more the lodge.
And then there's a saloon where you can get like morning coffee, happy hour, and then like, drinks like around dinner until like 11, I think.
Okay.
Just that's 11 p.m. So it's not like a late night kind of. It's not a late night kind of place.
No, but the last time we stayed here, they said that the staff tap a keg down at the rec room, and people are welcome to join. So
love that.
That's a solid consolation prize.
Haven't done that yet. Yeah, because like You gotta like the place where we are. Like once you're here, you're stuck. Like you can't like reliably like do a day trip.
Right. You can't pop out for dinner or something and come back.
Kind of like a tagline for the postcast. Once you're here, you're kind of stuck.
It's the worst Olive Garden you've ever been to. When you're here, you're like stuck. I'm sorry.
Right.
Or like Dotto on the bench.
Since you guys are all here, I think we should all take a moment and reflect on the accomplishment of yet again not being mentioned in the MLS PR name drop of literally every soccer media outlet in North America.
We have dodged the league's gaze.
Yeah, because we're not corporate sellouts like everyone that got mentioned.
I would take it as I would take offense if the league mentioned us.
Yeah,
I would view that as a move of aggression. It would be an aggressive move.
Like moving all of the aircraft carriers and jets over to the Middle East, right?
Yeah. It's essentially the terrorist watch list of soccer media outlets.
Yeah, they're now monitoring the situation. We're monitoring aggressively.
I was going to say it's like giving the like exiled Venezuelan opposition leader the Nobel Peace Prize. That's like a signal, like, oh, we're mentioning Venezuela. You're coming with us.
Well then, hey Grayson, if this is the end of your time here, very quickly give us your 1 minute uninterrupted review of the game last night.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw like the greatest soccer team God ever created. I know that there was a big tree. I know there was some kazoos.
Hard agree.
I know there was a small traveling Bailey contingent. And I know that it wasn't the most august of competitions, but you got to love it with all three strikers scoring goals. Denke needs to like do 10 push-ups or something for his. But if I had to say, like, of all the goals, the one that makes me most heartened is Tom Barlow's. For two reasons. One is he's gonna get every opportunity to play from Pat Noonan. Just because of how he is. And then two, he actually crashed the post.
Kind of like you in this appearance right here.
Yeah, I did.
Nice. That was really good.
Enjoy that keg in the rec room. Oh man. God, technology's great, isn't it, Kevin?
Good
luck editing that.
It works just enough to make you think it's gonna be a good idea. And then it never doesn't do it.
It never does.
Oh,
well,
man.
I guess that just means it's the two of us now.
But Chief, where did you watch this game last night?
Well, Kevin, I'm glad you asked. I watched at Streetside, your neighborhood brewery, a neighborhood hangout, just the gem, many people are calling it, of the greater Columbia Tusculum area.
Yes.
They had the match on with sound on all the major TVs. Ooh. Nice little crowd. I'd say, dozen and a half FC Cincinnati supporters there watching the game.
Nice.
Some robust debates, some robust takes occurring during the middle of the game. It was a fantastic experience. I can't recommend it enough. And I would say that even if they weren't paying us to say that.
I do think, this was on Fox Sports 2 or whatever. Right. But anymore. Yeah. Everybody's calling it the duh.
Yeah.
I think anymore you get a mix of bar staff that is just not familiar with cable, which is a really funny thing with like very young bartenders that just like do not know how to interact with cable, a cable box, the cable interface. And then also the weird proliferation of sports on streaming platforms, but then the streaming platforms bar cable package equivalent makes it incredibly difficult to where you have no idea if like you walk into a Buffalo Wild Wings, if like they're going to be able to get you Fox Sports 2, or you go down to whatever your favorite bar is to watch a Reds game. It's not obvious that they're going to be able to get you an FC Cincinnati game. All of the tools are made available to them. So I appreciate Streetside getting it done.
Yeah, it used to be the case, too, that you could walk into a bar. And I used to have DirecTV. So if you walked into a bar and they had the DirecTV package and they're like, oh, what channel is ESPN? Like, oh, it's 212. Everybody used to know that back in the day. Now I haven't put in a channel number probably in a decade.
Yeah.
So you ask me what channel it's on. It's like, oh, it's on Fox Sports 2. I couldn't tell you on your package what number that is. Just keep scrolling till you hit it, I guess there, champ. But
right. YouTube TV,
Fox Sports
Fubo, 2, there's no numbers anymore.
Yeah, I tend to think though that like I feel as a patron of many places that show sports, that if you have any package that shows cable television-ish, you should have Fox Sports 2. If you don't have Fox Sports 2, I got a lot of questions about the tier of package that you're running for a bar that otherwise has sports on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So that helps.
Completely agree with that. But yeah, no, shout out to Streetside for figuring that out. That is great.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah, I watched it.
Missed you there.
I know. I wanted to be there. It was my intention to be there.
I was telling everyone you're going to be there. They were like, hey, Chief, what's going on? I was like, I don't know, man. I'm saving a seat for Kevin, though. Like, he's going to be here. Kevin's going to be here.
Streetside's running a promotion. If you guys buy enough beers, we'll get Kevin to show up.
They had a banner up for you and everything. Welcome, Kevin.
Jeez.
Welcome home. It's tough. Tough scenes. Well, I'm sure they'll save it for the next time we have a CONCACAF Champions League game.
Yeah, away leg
in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
That happens all the time,
It's only a matter of time. Gosh, man, I was sad. I did, though. I will appreciate how easy this was. Using a VPN, CONCACAF puts all of the games on YouTube for countries where they haven't sold the broadcast rights. So it was super easy to be in Romania and watch this game on YouTube. So what kind
of pre-roll ads they feed you in Romania ahead of the game?
It was great. There was a chocolate candy ad that I got, and there was one that was like a Bosch vacuum cleaner that I've seen in English before, but it was dubbed in Romanian, but they were still doing the like a Bosch thing. I don't know how far that like SNL bit made it into Romania. So I don't know if that ad lands.
Hey, that's a soft power victory. That's an American cultural victory right there.
It is.
That's what you're looking for, I think. So with this game, I guess this is our first game recap of the year. It's our first Thursday episode of the year. Congratulations to us. We made it again. My overall take on this game is that I have no overall take on this game. Like, I was happy that we're back playing. I'm happy that, there were some certain ritualistic things that just felt good to see again. It felt good to see a lineup graphic. It felt good to see the tweet from Carter of like, hey, we're in position. Here's the calm before the storm. I genuinely believe the press box was in the tree when he tweeted out the picture of the tree branches. I was like, yeah, that tracks.
Sure,
for CONCACAF. Sure. Plant a tree right in front of the press box. Who cares? Seeing all those things, like getting a lineup graphic, that's it felt like, putting an old shoe back on. It was like, yeah, this is exciting. This is the way it's supposed to be. But in terms of like the competition level, I struggle to take anything reel away from even a minute of this game. I don't know that is that being like harsh to O&M, H&M, S&M FC, whatever it is, maybe, but like they suck. They had like one random dude who looks like he was confused and showed up out of a pub somewhere over in the UK and got like drunk and ended up on the team. Like they're barely a real soccer team. So I don't know if there's a whole lot to say about what happened last night.
Yeah, I went back and forth on this earlier today too, of like, how do I look at what happened in that game? Because leading up to it, absolutely, I'm just excited to be back into it, excited to watch a game, excited to watch the players. Brian Ramirez is an abstraction up until we finally get to see him play, especially in this world of not being able to see a second of the preseason. Like, if you're a Bengals fan or a Reds fan, you might get sick of the team and the backups before the season starts if you're watching a preseason. Whereas, we haven't got to see, what does Denke look like right now? Oh, what's the haircut Evander's rolling with? And yes, I know they're posting on social media. I'm not oblivious to that, but you know what I mean. So on some level, there's that. The other level of this is I want to be a good soccer fan and say that this competition matters and you can only play who's in front of you, and to sort of respect CONCACAF Champions League and to respect O&M. I have to take this game as seriously as obviously the team took it. That was mostly a first choice lineup out there. It was more first choice than not, but there was certainly some areas where it was rotated. So there's all of that. And then the other side of it is like, I should we have beaten this team 10-0? Like, if I do take it seriously, do I go the other direction and like, am I hard on the team for not doing enough? Or I really find it difficult to judge and rate an individual player's performance. Like specifically, I'll just shout out Andre Shirilla. And I thought he played great, right? Like I thought, 17-year-old center back didn't look out of position out there, but also not up against the strongest competition. No. I don't know that a 13-year-old center back would have looked any different. Sure, there might have been something there to see, but like I find it hard to take any value out of this going forward.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. So like in terms of, we talk about hashtag refresh, the tactics, what the team looked like, what the game looked like. I don't know that you learned anything. I also, you say it was a first choice lineup out there. That's true, but they were missing a couple of really key pieces that I think that it's hard to say you get a full picture of what the team is doing or what the team looks like without these pieces in place. Number one of which is Ender Echenike, who we all think, if this team is going to be different this year and is going to do different things, it's going to be because they have that pace and that attacking mindset on the wingback position for the entire year with the benefit of a full preseason that they just didn't have last year. So that's number one. And number two, Pavel Buka, who, you pull him off the field and it is a very, very different midfield lineup when you are having Obi and Anunga. It's a very defensive minded midfield. Obi has 2 assists. You're not counting on him to do that every night. That's not going to be his game. So yeah, I think there were enough really key pieces that weren't playing that I don't think you can make a lot of judgments, but like I think you can to a certain extent get a vibe check on what the team's fitness level is, how the team looks when they're out there. And for the most part, on that sort of like baseline eyeball challenge, I thought they looked like they're ready for the season. And I'm not going to get wrapped up in the fact that they should have beaten this team 10-0 or 8-0. It's just sort of a vibe thing. Like if they had won 1-0, that's kind of an alarm. Even 2-0, like what Nashville beat, Atletico Ottawa or whatever it was, 2-0, 2-0. And that's kind of like all right, you should do better against that team. So like once you get above 2 or 3, it just becomes a question of how much are you pushing? How much do you call the dogs off? Who are you putting on? Who are you taking off?
Yeah.
I'm not going to worry about that too much. They scored in both halves. They scored 2 goals in both halves. They were never threatened. And I thought there were some interesting individual performances that I'm sure we'll touch on here.
Yeah, I think too it's interesting. So looking at the starting lineup, and I'll run through it here real quick. You had Roman Celentano in goal. It was Brian Ramirez as your left wing back, Kyle Smith as the right wing back. It was Andre Shirilla as the left center back, Miles Robinson in the middle, and Flores is the right center back. Nunga and Wobodo in the midfield with Evander just ahead of them, Kevin Denke and Tom Barlow starting up top as your strikers. And I got to tell you, Chief, like I said first choice, but now like I'm thinking about this, like, okay, I don't know that you could necessarily look at this lineup and say, well, Barlow's definitively the starter over Jabari. I think
that's true.
Yeah, I was tempted to say that, but then you think, okay, well, they actually have a game on Saturday, so maybe they're holding guys out and resting guys. Because I think Gidi's probably ahead of Obi on this depth chart, also not playing. Ender wasn't able to travel for, visa / political reasons. So I assume he starts over Kyle Smith. I think Haglund is maybe ahead of Flores on the depth chart.
Or
I don't know that for sure. Teenage is certainly ahead of Shirilla on the depth chart. If he's not, they're stunning.
There's something wrong. Yeah. Especially considering Shirilla was like a short-term loan from FCC2, I believe.
So with that, like, I don't even know how to look at this in terms of like, what is our best 11? I guess I'll ask you this. Do you think Pat Noonan knows his number one first choice, if a must-win game is tomorrow, what the starting 11 is right now?
I think so.
Okay.
I think he's probably got an idea of what that is. I think that, so I guess the question is that really where the questions are, I think, is what you've identified, is that who is, if we're assuming that we're sticking with this back 3 and 2 striker setup, who is the starter between Obi and Gidi, and who is the striker, starter and striker between Tom Barlow or Ayub Jabari? Yeah. That's really the debate right now. I think that he probably knows what the answer to that is, but I think those are the only real questions. Because I think, well, the third question, I guess, would be, what is the health situation of Matt Miazga? Nobody has an answer to this question. Maybe we'll get clarification at some point, or maybe he'll just show up as like playing in a game and be like, oh, well, there's Matt Miazga. I guess that's all right. I guess we figured that situation out.
Right.
But it wasn't a first choice lineup. And I don't think Tom Barlow is. I know everyone is jumping to this conclusion that like we love that. Oh, Tom Barlow, he's a Pat Noonan type player. Yeah, but they pulled the option on Ayub Jabari with the quickness. Like there wasn't a lot of debate on pulling that option. They played him a lot in the playoffs last year. They played him a lot down the stretch when there were other options they could have gone to instead of him.
Yeah.
And Barlow's a supplemental roster guy. They're playing more money for Ayub Jabari than that. I think that's all points to the idea that I think Barlow is going to get minutes. That's very clear that they value what he brings to the table. But if I were an owner, I'd have a lot of questions about if I paid all this money for Ayub Jabari and you're bringing in a guy on a $90,000 deal or a $100,000 deal and he's taking his starting spot. Like, I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, especially when you consider like until somebody gives me a reported different number, his transfer fee was $1 to $2 million and was not on no wages last year, even on loan.
He definitely got paid. Like we know that to be the case. So you look at the lineup and it's, there's some it's a mix. It's exactly what you would expect for a Wednesday night CONCACAF away game when your season opener is 3 days away. Yeah. Is that there was some heavy rotation. Really, very few of the players played the entire 90. They got guys off the field. They cycled guys on the field. A lot of guys got run, and they got the result they were looking for. So, yeah, I don't know. Would it surprise me if this exact same starting lineup went out there on Saturday, yeah, I'd be stunned.
Yeah.
Would it surprise me if a new formation showed up on Saturday? Be surprised, but I wouldn't be out of the question. You know, that we saw them dabble in the preseason with Evander as an advanced sort of quasi striker with a one striker setup. If they deployed that, I wouldn't be shocked. I just don't think we learned a ton about the team, but I do think we learned a lot about a few players. Ooh. And chief among them, let's just talk about Ayoub Jabari. Let's go right there.
That's what people are talking about right now.
Yeah, people are talking. Let's not deny the people what they want. Comes on as a sub in the second half and is almost immediately involved in making an impact on the game. 2 goals, scores a brace, earns a PK, takes one of the worst PKs you will see outside of a center back. Like, this was a center back's PK. It was bad.
Yeah, it was pretty rough.
Gets it saved. Immediately converts a higher difficulty chance, like not less than a few minutes later.
Right.
And then makes an incredible run, barely onside. I'm still not convinced he was onside, but whatever. It's, you know, it's, you get the VAR you get in a country like, you know, the Dominican Republic. It's probably not the best, but scores 2 goals, is close on a third, is close, at least in terms of earning a high XG opportunity on the PK. Kevin, are you a Jabari believer now?
I mean, this is the thing, is like, I think it would be overreacting to take anything away from this game, to take too much away from this game. Obviously, you like to see a guy who is able to get in good position. You love to see a guy who is willing to throw himself out there. I can only point out that Dotto was, you know, involved in a lot of his opportunities.
We're not talking about him. We're talking about Ayoub right now. We can talk about Dotto in a second here. Let's talk about Ayoub.
If they're a package, that'd be nice. No, but he's getting on the end of crosses, which is great. He is, you know, running at defenses and getting the ball in behind them, which is fantastic. Things that we have not seen yet. Now, is that a function of their opponent being very bad, and so that they were finally able to get things that they weren't able to get done before? Possibly. Have they worked on these things, and that's why they were able to execute them very, very quickly? Also very possible. I think if you went into this season saying Jabari is unproven as a reliable goal scorer and somebody who can genuinely make defenses, you know, hesitate to not double team Denke, I would respect either opinion of, okay, he's showing that I think, you know, this is setting himself up for a good season, or this was a crappy team and I'm still not convinced until I see what happens against Atlanta and over the next few weeks.
Yeah, I'd buy that, except that, like, the knock on Denke legitimately was that he doesn't score anywhere. The knock is that, you know, he wasn't a prolific goal scorer in League Two. He didn't score at all.
Jabari. Yeah.
Jabari. Yeah. Sorry, Jabari. Yeah.
Denke, prolific goal scorer.
Prolific. So yeah. Yeah. The knock on Jabari was that he didn't score a lot of goals in League Two, didn't score any goals last year for us. And so for me, seeing him score against anyone is like, okay, I see it. And yeah, the team sucks. We no doubt there, but there was goal scorer's instincts, and there was something that you could see there where it's like, okay, yeah, like, he's not going to earn a PK on a horror challenge every time like that easily. He's not going to get in behind a defense so easily every time when there's better players out there. But I like the instincts, and I like the fact that I saw him put the ball in the net. I hadn't seen that before in an FC Cincinnati uniform. So to see it 2 times, that to me, that's a huge positive. And it's like, okay, now I've seen evidence that he is capable of scoring goals. Yeah. Let's see what he can do in a better competition setting.
Yeah. I'll be the first one to point out that he has 7 or 9 goals at a first division level anywhere in the world, you know, US and France combined there. He scored goals at, B teams and reserve sides and second divisions, but at first divisions, it's bleak, right? So There's that. But the other part of it is, and the reason why they targeted him is that his underlying numbers and I'll say his XG and things like that looked good in the second division of France. So he was definitely somebody getting in position. He just needed that final piece. That's what this coaching staff was hoping to bring to him. And if they're able to pull it off, let's not discount, the old Goss theorem that it takes a season for somebody to get used to playing in the States, getting comfortable in that country with that team. Yeah, I think that there are reasons to be optimistic for Jabari. Absolutely. But again, I just go back to outside of the number one goal scorer under Chris Albright's regime, he has not brought in a reliable second goal scorer from the striker position. And we could name 12 strikers that have been brought in for that position and it just have not produced. So I'm totally fine with a, show me where your money is, show me, put your money where your mouth is, right. Sort of wait and see approach to this.
He looked like a little bit for me.
Uh-oh.
A little Vasquez like.
Ooh.
That's a little
be a good comp.
That's a little what I remember from Brandon was that he would sneak in behind.
Yeah.
He was a willing runner at people, and sometimes his touch let him down. He definitely had Brandon and Ayub share the same thing. They both have a striker's touch when it comes to the ball at their feet, trying to dribble.
Yeah.
But they find themselves in dangerous areas, find themselves in dangerous places, and are single-minded towards goal, which I think this team could use a little more of. There's a lot of guys in this team that want to be slick with it. Sometimes a blunt force object does the job just fine, and you don't really need to do all the it's kind of like in Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. The guy can spin the sword all he wants. Sometimes you just need to pull the gun out and shoot the guy. It's sometimes the best way forward is the simplest way forward, and that's Ayub Jabari. It's a lot of legs, knees, and feet coming and arms coming at you. And I was down on Jabari a little bit earlier this year. I'm on board. You know what? I got a lot of entertainment value from his minutes on the field, good and bad. Now I'm eager to see where this goes.
The posts match day Discord channel was nothing but Jabari hate right up until the first goal. And then it got a little is he good? And then the second goal, it was he's the best player of all time.
Golden
I really
boot
appreciated
winner.
that. Yes.
CONCACAF Week 1 Golden Boot winner, I believe. I don't know. How many? Bouanga might have had 5. I turned the game off after they were up 4-0.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's definitely not more than whatever was happening with LAFC.
Yeah.
But so Chief, who I learned quite a bit about?
Tell me.
Obi. I learned a lot about Obi because of this. I'm not necessarily taking, the assists, and whatever else from this game. What I really wanted to see, what I think I might have saw, was a healthy Obina Nwobodo. And I saw what looked like a healthy, mobile, agile Obi out there. And if that player exists, not only am I way more comfortable with the midfield depth, I am very curious about that 4-man midfield formation. If you could somehow get Guidi and or Buka into this formation somewhere, I think there could be some good stuff happening in midfield.
I think that's the dream of the hashtag Return of the Sword formation. But if you're making a list of who the best 11 players are on this team, it's got to include Guidi, Obi, Buka, and Evander. They're the 4 of the best players. How do you get them all on the field together? That's one way of doing it. Even if you don't get them on the field together, I thought Obi played a really good game. I thought he was active. I thought his passing was crisper than we've seen in a while. He was more advanced than we've seen him in a while. That's partly because Anunga was on the field with him. So Anunga obviously takes over that deeper lying midfield position, the true 6 position. But what I like about this situation is that it does free Pat Noonan up to do something that they haven't been able to do recently. And that's give Pavel Bucha a couple minutes off here and there.
Yeah.
But they published the FC Cincinnati record book that has all the information from their media guide. And Pavel is number 1 and number 2 in most minutes played in a single season. He's for 2025 and 2024. My man needs a day off. And so if you can have a situation where you can have Guidi step into that Bucha role and still keep a healthy Obi on the field, I really like that.
Yeah.
I also really love the idea of getting all 4 of the midfielders on and letting Obi occupy sort of a quasi center back role or and free up so that maybe Ender doesn't need to worry so much about tracking back to defend, and have him be more of that cover for our wing backs when they go forward. But I agree. I thought Obi looked really, really good. What I liked about what he was doing, what a lot of the midfielders were doing, was that there were times where they fell back into that familiar pattern of play where we're playing around the horseshoe of doom, but there was more of a willingness to go and try the ball over the top down the wings, or immediately try the advancing ball, as opposed to, feeling the need to hold possession for extended amounts of time. Yeah. And again, part of that is because you just don't fear giving O&M the ball. But right. I do like the idea that they at least tried to make a conscious effort to push the ball forward a little bit.
Yeah, they could have been very happy to sit back in the horseshoe of death or the horseshoe of doom, where, you would have just possessed the game to death with a 2-goal lead, and would have been perfectly fine. And honestly, what we've come to expect from a Pat Noonan coach team, which is get a lead that you think you can defend and defend it.
Sit on it.
Yeah. So I was happy to see that. That's another situation where Shirilla in particular seemed willing, maybe not the best of times or the most accurate, but certainly a willingness to launch the ball or even himself move forward with the ball. He's feeling himself a couple of times.
Yeah, a little bit. Little bit.
Yeah. I'll throw this one out there to you, though. He only plays the first half, but Ramirez, I thought, looked very comfortable, very good in that role. I'm going to do my best to not, do what we did with Lucas Ankle last year at that first game against Batagua. But the crossing we were seeing from him is something that this team has not seen in a while. I even throw a little Kyle Smith in there, getting in on the crossing. If this team is able to add reliable, good crossing to its attacking portfolio, good things are going to happen this year.
Right. It's one of the reasons why it's okay, I would have liked to see Ramirez crossing out there with Jabari being an opportunity and a target out there. Didn't get a chance to see that. Maybe we'll see that this weekend against Atlanta. But I liked Ramirez. I thought I saw some good stuff from him. Again, like you pointed out with Lucas Engel, it was a point I was going to make if you didn't make it, and that's that we've been down this road before. And when it comes to wingback play, I need to see more than a decent game out of any wingback, given how important they are in this system. I've grown to despise the concept of wingbacks. I hate it. I don't want to play this anymore. I don't want to play with this toy anymore. I am convinced that this is a lineup of failure. Specialist in failure lineup. So it will be fun to see if Brian Ramirez can rebuild my faith in the concept of a wingback. We'll see. But I think the early returns were good. Who else? Kevin Denke scores one of the worst goals I've ever seen. That was cool.
I want to give Denke just a smidgen more credit here. There is something to be said for put it on frame and something might happen, which is in a offensive system that we had last year, where a lot of people looked at the XG number. You don't get an expected goal by not shooting, for example,
right.
And definitely for not shooting on target. So by shooting on target, that's good. I like to see the instinct. He also hit the ball very hard. If it was a softer hit, the keeper will hold it. Now, all of that said, horrific mistake. Would never happen. If Roman did that, I'd be pissed. But yeah. I do want to give Denke just a smidgen of credit. That is not entirely 100% a goalkeeper blunder. It may be 90% a goalkeeper blunder, but good to see Denke out there firing rockets still.
Yeah, I like that. It did make me wonder in that moment whether or not the keeper had like the over, or it felt a little match fixy that one was so easily like straight through the wickets on that one. I don't know. Who's to say? Yeah. What I did appreciate a lot, though, was the very muted celebration by Kevin Denke, where he almost did like a Jim Halpern, like, and looked at the camera like, I don't know about that one, guys.
Right. Good to get the goal, but yeah,
I didn't earn that one. Yeah, that was not. That will not be in the Kevin Denke highlight reel. Except that if you watch this game on Fox Sports 2, I can't say anything about the Romanian YouTube app, but at the halftime was just highlights being shown over like a music bed. And they must have shown the replay of this going through the wickets at least like 8 times. It got to the point where I was watching the game with Bailey legend Nick Keevy, and I looked over at him and said, they're doing my man dirty here a little bit. Like, he's got a family. He doesn't need to see that over and over again. We could have gotten away with 2 replays of that. We didn't need to see 8.
Yeah, all of his boys back home are just giving him all the shit in the world for this. He's telling them, guys, I'm in Champions League. This is going to be so cool.
Yeah, so exciting. You guys, you promise you're going to watch, right? You are going to watch. We're going to put this on. You got to go help my mom put this on TV. She has no way to know what channel this is on.
Oh, devastating. Absolutely devastating.
But then homeboy had like an incredible save of an Evander goal scoring opportunity where that Evander's going to Denke in the locker room and being like, you got to be shitting me, right?
Yeah, right.
Yours goes in, this one doesn't. What the fuck, man?
And that is a great point. Like, Evander, is robbed on that one. I thought Evander was fine in this game. Again,
he was Evandering.
Yeah, it's hard to get too excited about the performance because Evander's not going to get too excited about the opponent. He's like the master of turning it on and off. And you hear about like some athletes is that they've got 2 speeds, right? It's like stop and go or stop and fast or whatever. Right. Evander's got like 13 speeds.
Yeah. Yeah, he is not he's not a light switch, he's a dimmer switch. Like there's many different ways that it can be. Like you take someone like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would have been walking onto the field and just would have turned around to one of the guys from O&M and be like, the hell you call me? It's like, I didn't say anything, man. I heard that. I got my eye on you. But like Evander's not like that. Evander's just sort of like, can we take a picture with the tree afterwards? That would be cool.
Yeah, that tree is so cool. I'm just going to watch that tree all game.
I'm just going to watch that tree all game. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's like, I'm not going to take a shot in the second half because I don't want to hurt the tree.
Which I do want to talk about the tree for just a second. No,
we got to talk about the tree. That was like the star of the game.
The tree is incredible. So if folks don't know, this stadium is essentially the national stadium for the Dominican Republic. It is not O&M's home field. Their home field is like 2 hours, I want to say, to the north of where this was. So it also contributes to like the small crowd and all of that. And if folks remember this, I want to say 2-3 years ago, Austin was in the Champions League and they played a team from Haiti. Haiti at the time was forbidden by CONCACAF. I assume they are still forbidden, but at the time they were forbidden by CONCACAF from hosting matches. And so Haiti, on the same island of Hispaniola, they hosted the games in the Dominican Republic at that stadium, and that tree was very funny with Austin fans because, one, the Haitian team knocked them out of the tournament, which was incredibly embarrassing, and then 2, Austin's whole thing is the tree, and so the team with the giant tree stadium knocked him out. So in a way as well, it's like a site of like this really great moment in MLS soccer history, American soccer history, to be able to go back. And then, yes, of course, it's like a picturesque tree and the players take the photos in the tree afterwards. awesome stuff. Absolutely love it.
Yeah. That was also, people remember that series with Austin and that team from Haiti is the one where half of the Haitian team couldn't get their visas approved to come to the United States. And the Haitian team, I think, was legitimately soliciting, like, if you know how to play soccer, please come and we will have like a kid available for you. We need like bodies on the field to play against Austin FC, and they still knocked them out of the competition.
They literally like recruited folks in Austin to come play for their team because they needed to make up numbers. Exactly that, because like half the team couldn't travel legally.
Yeah. Go us.
Incredible.
So we avoided that outcome. There is a nightmare outcome underneath the tree, and we avoided that. And that's good for us. Good on us. Kevin, anything else to say about this game? Took care of business. I thought it was, look, I didn't pay anything to watch it, and I got my money's worth.
Yeah. It's both a good and bad like opening to the season, because it is hard.
Anticlimactic.
It's hard to get super excited for this. Now, if it was against a Liga MX club or something like that, I think it would feel very different. I think absolutely it would feel different. So there is the weirdness with that. And at the same time, it's kind of a nice way to ease back into the season a little bit. Yeah. We finally got to see essentially a broadcast preseason game, so that was nice. I appreciated that. I guess one final takeaway, I won't get out of here without mentioning him properly. Dado Valenzuela gets an assist. I thought he looked fine in this game, but even with a rotated lineup, he ain't seeing the field right away.
Nope. There was a funny interaction on, not on X, the Everything app. It's all happening on X, but rather on Instagram. It's the gram, and, post your recipe videos here. If you don't follow FC Cincinnati Instagram, you are missing out in this regard. And that's that whenever the players post stories, inevitably they all comment on one another's stories. And there's like a little mini locker room that's going on online at all times. And there is some very funny content that is provided by other players in the comment section. Including Dado commenting on an Instagram story saying, should have let me take the PK. Or I'm taking the PK next time, which I was like Pat Noonan sees that like the hell you are. Get back on the bench, Rook.
He said that, and then Jabari responded with, we're playing rock, paper, scissors for it. So that was good. That was good.
I would like that, just because I think Jabari is a full 1.5 feet taller than Dado.
Jabari like, doing the Matt Miazga,
1, 2, 3,
Diego Lainez,
or it's the meme of the dude looking up at the sky in terror. It's just Dado looking up at Jabari right there.
Oh, it's so good. So I mean, like we said, we talked about it plenty, but I don't know how much there is to truly extract and take away. I think the first real test and the first time we will properly be able to judge this team, and as much as we can see what the best 11 is against Atlanta. So, Chief, should we go ahead and do that in part 2?
Let's go do it.
Hi, I'm doing this ad because my dad said it was cheaper than paying intern Luke. If you like FC Cincinnati and you're still listening to this stupid podcast, you might also like the stuff that is for sale on the Post website. There are some designs on there that are pretty neat, and some that needed a little more work. There is even a reversible bucket hat that says Noonan out on one side and Noonan in on the other side, which I've been told to say is very funny. If you even buy something, Chief might even release away days. Go to thepostcincy.com and click merch. Or don't. That's okay too. Okay, thanks, bye.
I want to start something off first before we get to the Atlanta preview. So can you please indulge me for just 1 second?
I would love to.
After we recorded, a very important bit of news broke that I feel like we have to acknowledge on the show, that I'm just tickled pink about. And that is that the Louro failure of the not failing Queen City Press who did get a shout out from MLS, which I'm very jealous about still, reported that sources indicate that FC Cincinnati is working on a contract extension with friend of the show, friend of the podcast, recurring guest, Evan Louro. And Kevin, I'm so excited. I'm so happy about this. I think we're not impartial in this just because we've gotten to know Evan a little bit over the course of doing a number of appearances with him.
Yeah.
And he is just the best dude. And we don't have numbers yet. We don't know how long the contract is for. I presume he's getting something of a raise because they do have some room in the budget now with the departure of Alec Can to pay their number 2 goalkeeper maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
But he's a guy who came to this club basically to rehab an injury, impressed well enough that they were able to offer him an extension or pick up an option for another year. He was just looking for health insurance. I think he said that on our podcast the first time he was on.
Yeah.
And he was just thrilled that like his wife had insurance when they were looking forward to the birth of their first child. And from that background, horrific knee injury that he's talked about with Tampa Bay to, getting re-signed and going from someone where it's like, yeah, no, Evan's the vibes guy to, oh no, Evan was the goalkeeper of the year in the USL. This guy can play.
Yeah.
To what we saw last year where, we're not concerned at all. Like, obviously nobody wants anything to happen to Roman, but like, we got this if we need to go to our backup keeper. And now getting a new contract extension, I couldn't be happier. That's the best news I read all week. And I'm so thrilled for Evan, and hell yeah. Wanted to make sure we shouted that out before we got any further on this.
Oh, absolutely. No, that was fantastic news to read. It was getting nervous that they were even going to pick up his initial option, right? Like there was the chance that they just might, clean house with the backup goalkeeper position with Can retiring. But no, they brought him back. Very excited to have him back because that means we get a fun guy to talk to every so often. Yeah. So that's always nice. But no, he's absolutely earned it. And yeah, like he's good, like legitimately good. And I'm glad he's under team control now for, I presume a couple of years here. So that is all around fantastic news for everybody. Chief, while we're running through some housekeeping here real quick out of the break, I do want to say, thank you to everybody who signed up for the Fantasy United app. That was exciting to see as we got down to crunch time here. I think we officially end as the 3rd largest fan zone, which is very exciting. We got some pretty big names out there for the fan zone size. That was great. I also want to say my commiserations to everybody who is dealing with the technical issues. It turns out we might be too popular and the app seems to be crashing today. And so I had a great conversation with Graham. That's on the feed. That's up on YouTube. We just did like a quick little 20-minute conversation with him just about sort of the idea behind the app and things like that. So rough scenes that the app then crashes when push comes to shove. But looking forward to that.
Suffering from success.
Yeah, not too bad. But the way it works is everybody's split up into lots of different leagues, but then overall, everybody who is a fan of the post is also in a collective leaderboard. So my goal is, as the season goes along, to sort of shout out who's doing the best in the overall leaderboard, partially because I can't go in and actually see the results of the other leagues, but this gives you the opportunity to try and maybe a reminder to keep updating your teams because, in my experience, that's the hardest part of running an MLS fantasy team is remembering to redo your lineup.
Yeah. It's a long season, as my wife reminds me all the time.
Yeah. It's come up
you
before.
excited? Aren't you excited? Soccer season's about to start. And she's like, it's always soccer season. Like, what are you talking about? It just left.
Yeah.
So that's a no. You don't want to go to the game on Saturday?
Yeah, so I got a free ticket. Is that what you're saying?
Don't wait up.
But speaking of this weekend, it's the first game. It is FC Cincinnati hosting Atlanta United. Tata Martino is back in Atlanta. Not a whole lot of changes from last year. They've let some key players go for sure. Don't get me wrong, but Almiron's still there, Gregerson's still there, Moranchuk's still there. So a lot of the core pieces are there. Brooks Lennon, Brad Guzan, two big names or punchable faces that we've seen before, no longer there. So there is that change. But I don't know, Chief, vibes going into this one.
I mean, at least you don't have to adjust the white balance on your television every time they show the opposing goalkeeper. That's kind of nice.
Yes.
Like looking like a J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie every time a light hits his forehead. So, big picture question.
Yeah.
Does FC Cincinnati need a little more pomp and circumstance with opening day? Like, or is that just like a baseball thing? Because it does feel like, yeah, we're back, but it doesn't feel like hype, right? It just feels like, nope, time to go again.
I do think we should, and I say we as like sort of the broader FC Cincinnati community, should brainstorm some opening day ideas. Like, obviously the pregame and the march and everything is great, and if you want to think of that as a parade, I'll be offended as a supporters group member, but I will accept it as like a general fan. So on that sense, I get it, but at that point you're too close. I'd almost like something the night before.
Yeah, this was my big idea. This was I pitched this a long time ago, early on in the FC Cincinnati. There are a lot of ideas that never took flight in supporters culture. This is one of many bad ideas I had that never took flight, but I had always pitched the idea that the night before the home opener, which would usually be a Friday night, that it should be like an open house night for all the supporters groups. And so you would go to wherever, like, you know, that was back, Pride's at Northern Row, DI was at the Still House, Norden was at the Symphony Hotel. This was probably even predates Norden existing, honestly. But that the night before would be like a big gathering. It would be a big thing. And if you were interested in joining an SG, that would be the night to go out. You could go meet some of the people. They'd be at their bar. You could pick up a scarf. You could pick up a membership package. And it would just be sort of, my idea is that it would eventually turn into something where, okay, so like the Pride's going to be having a festival at Northern Row, and we're going to book a band, and we're going to have like shit going on. And then that'll convince some of the other groups like, oh, we're going to book a band and have some shit going on. And it'll turn into like one big like soccer fest where you could legitimately bar crawl and bar hop among the various supporters bars the night before to get hyped up for the game the next day. And I think the reason why it didn't take off is, number one, it's all volunteers. No one's going to put that kind of time into it. And number two, you might end up like just profoundly hungover the next day, and the game experience would be poor.
There is a sort of downside to this, which is partying, celebrating a little too hard the night before. Chief, I think we have something there. And I think we at the Post are in a unique position to be able to do this. I think next year, because I think 24 hours is probably a little tight to plan this, but next year,
come on, we got this.
I'm not saying no. I just think it'll be tough. Is we as the Post, and sure, we'll invite everybody along. Don't get me wrong, but we organize a spot, a place. Streetside could potentially work, but honestly, I'm thinking a little bigger and like just physically need a large space. And we invite all the SGs out to have sort of like booths that if they want to work it, that's cool, to like sell memberships and stuff, as well as like make it their party, give an opportunity for people to pick up scarves. I know this is a big time of year for that. Let them do their own scarf release parties, but make this as an option as well. And we book a band, and this just becomes like, you know, the preseason, end of preseason break sort of party that we launch into the season the next day. I'm thinking immediately Jim Trace and the Makers is playing this.
Well, obviously.
Event. There's literally nobody else. And
There's nobody else I'd rather have.
I think we could have a good time, depending on, where the venue is. Absolutely. We'll have a couple of kegs of street side beer there, and, we'll order a bunch of pizzas and stuff. And as the post, I think we'd be happy to help facilitate that, rent a facility, buy food, whatever the case may be. I think we could do this. We need somebody who owns like an airplane hangar in downtown Cincinnati. That's actually the ideal situation here.
Right. Right. We need that. We need someone to donate free beer. It would be cool if like there was like a keg tapping of some beer that was like a season long thing, and that was like an official thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that there is something. Maybe it's not this. If you've got a good idea, hit me up. DM's always open. Yeah. But there needs to be something, I think, that is, because soccer is uniquely supporters driven.
Yep.
It doesn't rely on a guy playing the organ like "Let's go," red legs. It doesn't need that. It's so it does feel like this is something where the supporters could take the charge and could do something that is unique and big and just sort of adds to like the lore and the lexicon of the team, because it's very rare that something like this isn't already programmed out with activations and all sorts of corporate buzzwords. And why not? That would be kind of fun. It's too early for Ope Fest. That's the problem, is that this just doesn't feel like an Ope Fest situation. Ope Fest is a summer thing.
Yeah.
It's the dog days type of thing. Middle of the season, we're 17, 18 games in. Maybe it's feeling like a routine, and we got to have the Ope Fest to get it going. But the preseason, I think we can do something that's a little more exciting, like rah.
Yeah, I think we could pull this off. Like, I think it would be a lot of fun. So
yeah.
I'm going to get working.
We got a year.
Right.
No, we don't. Actually, we don't have a year because we have the sprint season coming up next year. We got to plan two of these. We got to plan two of these fucking things. We got to do one for the sprint season, and that will be the trial run for whatever it is we do in the summertime for the MLS is back again.
We're going to have to do it twice a year, every year, because you'll have the start of the season and then the sort of end of winter break party. So maybe end of winter break is Ope Fest and then the summer party, or vice versa.
This year Ope Fest has to be coming back from the World Cup. Like, time for MLS again. Let's scooch on by here.
Ope, can MLS just squeeze on into your sports interests?
Right, into your sports calendar. Ope, gonna scooch on past here now that the World Cup's over.
Yeah.
So Atlanta. That's all a long way of saying Atlanta. Fuck them. Nobody cares about Atlanta. All my homies hate Atlanta. I hate Atlanta. Let me just stop here for a second. I hate the city of Atlanta. Atlanta would be a truck stop if it wasn't for the invention of air conditioning. It is near no real natural resources or anything that is of great value. What is Atlanta famous for? It's famous for traffic jams. It's famous for CNN, the originator of fake news. It's famous for Coca-Cola, a product that is literally poisoning Americans and contributing to the greater obesity of society. It's home to the Atlanta Falcons, who lost the Super Bowl 28-3 to Buccaneers legend Tom Brady. It's home to the Atlanta Braves that still inexplicably do the horrendous tomahawk chop chant in the year of our Lord 2026. What am I missing here? This city sucks, man. I hate Atlanta.
I think Atlanta has an outsized musical, cultural, cachet in the United States. I think that's key.
What, like Luda and Outkast and everybody else can go?
I mean, that's two pretty big names right there.
Sure. Okay. They got two. All right. Congratulations. Every city's, three. Yeah. But really, Andre 3000 was the brains of that outfit. Big Boy was just along for the ride. Everyone knows this.
Atlanta is Killer Mike. Three. Okay, so like, there's some fun stuff there. No, I in general though, I will tell you with Atlanta United specifically, I hate them. Like, I am so happy to see them suffering. Like, when they showed up and were immediately like the belle of the ball and we're getting 60,000 people in the stadium and stuff, that was annoying.
Yeah.
I'm glad that their fan base has to suffer a little bit.
Right. And Arthur Blank, their owner, looks like a ghoul. Like he's progressively turning more and more into like an actual ghoul walking around. Their stadium is dumb. It's got a butthole for a roof. It's bad. It's bad all around.
There is nothing worse than the Atlanta United fan going, well, actually they built it with soccer in mind.
Yeah, no, it was built with soccer. We were always intended to have a soccer team there. Yeah, why does it have fake grass then?
Yeah, boys, girls, I need you to think about this for a second. Paul Brown Stadium in the year 2000 was also built with soccer in mind. They thought about it and then just did whatever the hell they wanted to do for the NFL, but they had it in mind. And go back and look at all the original plans. They talk about FIFA. They talk about soccer matches. I think they even mention MLS with this. Like, it was in mind. Don't get them wrong. But no. And same with Atlanta. They are going to install grass this season for the World Cup. And I promise you, they are going to take it right out the moment they don't need it. I wouldn't be surprised if they try to get turf in there before the NFL season starts and Atlanta has to finish the season on turf. So,
right.
Yeah.
So that Michael Penix can get injured again on artificial turf because it was a stupid draft pick they made.
Yeah. So there you go. That's Atlanta. Chief, are you at all worried or concerned about this game? I only say that because last year, this was a weirdly tough team for us.
Yeah. I'm worried, but like it's start of the year. It's the pattern is always the same at the start of the year. This team they'll either win 1-0 or they'll draw 1-1. It's going to be an ugly game of soccer because they're still feeling things out, getting their legs underneath them. If they go and they beat Atlanta by more than one goal, I'm going to crown this team MLS Cup champions after week 1. I'm going to go there, but I'm not expecting that. I'm expecting a very tight game. I'm expecting a late match winner, and I'm expecting them to keep a clean sheet. So I'm expecting a 1-0 win. What I am looking for more than anything else, though, is I am looking for the team to show me something different than the usual. We talked about the horseshoe of doom. I am looking for more through balls. I'm looking for people taking things on the half turn. I'm looking for balls played over the top. I'm just looking for anything that shows this team is being aggressive and not falling into similar passive patterns of play, even with the ball. So if I see that, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing what Ramirez looks like. I'm looking forward to seeing who the second striker is. But, I don't think that there's going to be a ton to take away from this game one way or the other. I expect it pretty tight to the vest, and I expect an FC win.
I like it. Yeah, I was just looking back at our prediction that we made last Sunday, last postcast episode. We said 1-0 in this game. I don't see any reason to deviate from it. That feels right. I might say 2-0. I might disagree with us just because I like what I saw out of the refresh in whatever we can glean out of O&M University. I am gleaning it, and I am saying 2-0 against Atlanta is the way to go. So there we go.
Kevin, there's breaking news right now.
What's going on?
This was just posted to Truth Social, the Truthful app. It's all happening on Truth Social. You can guess who I'm quoting here. Okay. Based on the tremendous interest shown, I will be directing the Secretary of War and other relevant departments and agencies to begin the process of identifying and releasing government files related to alien and extraterrestrial life, unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, unidentified flying objects, and any and all other information connected to these highly complex but extremely interesting and important matters. All caps, God bless America. Kevin, it's happening. We're playing the final distraction card.
The man's entire identity after the year of 2007 is just the mirror world version of whatever Obama is doing or saying or believes in. It's just Obama made fun of him at a White House Correspondents' Dinner, and he stormed out. And from that moment on, his entire life was dedicated to doing whatever the opposite is. And Obama got a lot of good vibes.
So I guess the real prediction, Kevin, is that I need you to power rank what you think is most likely versus least likely to happen by the close of business on Saturday.
Okay.
The FC scores 4 goals against Atlanta United.
Okay.
We're at war with Iran, or aliens are real.
Okay. I'm going to go war with Iran number 1.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
You don't move that much machines unless you're going to use them.
What if the aliens are in Iran? It's like we're announcing the aliens are real, but it turns out they're in Iran and they're helping the Iranians. Do you want the Iranians to have warp drive, Kevin? Like, you're not going to be laughing when they fire a photon torpedo at New York City.
Look, I'm just saying, if the aliens are already helping Iran, then I think we just got to partner with Iran. I don't think there's a version of this where we win the war against the aliens.
Yeah. You know what's funny? You watch all that Star Trek. You ever hear about them talking about electing the president of the Federation? No. You know why? Because he's the Ayatollah of the Federation. Think about it.
Oh, my God. With this whole time, we've been thinking it's space communism and space Republic of Islam.
Yeah. All those episodes. You ever hear once about Captain Picard or Commander Riker actually going to cast a vote? You think those woke Star Trek writers didn't think about that and be like, no, voting doesn't happen in the future. We're ruled by the Supreme Commander and the Republican Guard.
Oh my God, Chief, the replicator is a way of consuming food that is inherently halal.
Yeah, that's right.
Because there's nothing haram that was coming out of the replicator.
We're in Ramadan. We're in Ramadan right now. Did you ever see anyone drinking water on the bridge? No.
No, they're fasting.
They're fasting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah. So, all right, War with Iran,
War
number 1.
Iran, aliens, FCC scores 4 as the least likely of what's happening this weekend.
Oh, man. Let's do this. I'm ready. I'm ready to believe. I am ready to believe in FC Cincinnati. I'm ready to believe in our offense. I'm ready to believe in aliens. Let's not even go there with Iran. And most importantly of all, Kevin, fuck Columbus.
The Cincy Postcast is a production of The Post Cincy. You can check us out online at thepostcincy.com. You can also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, Facebook, and Instagram. Twitter and Blue Sky, though, you'll find we're a little more active than the other places. We're also on YouTube, where you can listen to this episode if you aren't listening to it already. We are also putting up video content semi-regularly, including the Away Days series. We want to give a huge thank you to Jim Trace and the Makers for providing the music for this episode. They are a lovely band, and you can find more information out about them in the description of this episode. And if you happen to enjoy what you just heard, can I please ask that you like us, that you rate us on whatever app you're listening to, and maybe more importantly than all of that, share this episode with a friend. When it comes up at work, you're talking about FC Cincinnati, I say, hey, I listened to an FC Cincinnati podcast. I think you guys will like it. It would really, really help us out. Nothing helps a podcast travel more than a good recommendation from a friend, family member. That would be awesome. When it comes to the sorting algorithms that control our lives, a 5-star review would be much appreciated. Also, leaving a sort of written review weirdly does more than that. That's how the algorithms work. So maybe say a nice or a mean thing, whatever. Just as long as you give us 5 stars, that'll really, really, really help us out. And if you are looking for more MLS content, check out our other podcast, The World's Gam. Again, a link will be in the description of this episode. That is where we touch on league-wide storylines and news, and we talk about other games and a couple other teams in there as well. I think you will enjoy it if you are just dipping your toes into Major League Soccer. A huge thank you to all of our sponsors. A even bigger thank you to all of our patrons over at Patreon. But maybe most importantly, thank you for listening to this episode.